Welcome, everybody. Type in the chat bar, where are you coming in from? What time is it? And where are you logging in from? I got a quick video while you're doing that we're going to watch. That is one of my favorite videos. And I feel it sets such a good stage. You might have seen this video before, so watch it with a fun, fresh set of lenses here. Here we go.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
Yeah, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See,
out.
you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like, there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. Ow. If you would just...
Don't.
Try to see things. There you go, everybody. It's not about the nail. It is not about the nail. I'm super excited. Let's see. We got people from Ohio and Bermuda and Virginia. Cool. Excited to have you guys with us today. Make sure you have a pen and paper. Let's turn your video cameras on if you're with us today, unless you're in a very inappropriate place or a situation where you can't do that. Otherwise, I want to make sure that we're here together. Hey, Denise, nice to see you. Brian, what's going on? Emily in the house. Oscar. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Ella, Shane, what's happening? Greg, Gene Slade, what's going on, brother? All right, let's get this party started here. Now, if you could relate to maybe just a little bit of stress, do any of you just sometimes experience a little bit of stress? Now type in the chat bar. That's how we're going to communicate tonight together. And I want this to be that I'm talking with you and not at you. Okay. Because if I just sit here and present stuff and we don't have interaction, then you're going to leave with maybe having a good time, but you won't have impact. And I'm only here tonight, and we have a whole team here with us. I'm here because I want to make sure you leave with an action plan. All right. This is because so many people attend certain things that they leave and they're very motivated, but that motivation goes away really, really quick. So tonight's about overcoming life stress. And I'm super honored you're here, because a lot of people in the world today, and you tell me if you think this is true or not true, a lot of people in the world say they don't want stress, but they're not here learning right now. What's the deal? Type in the chat bar. What do you think is the deal? I think what happens is stress becomes an identity for people. And as much as they don't want it, they're attracted to it. And I think maybe, you tell me, type in maybe in the chat bar, they're addicted to it a little bit. What do you think? They're addicted to the stress because the stress creates a sense of drama. And some people like that. Now, how many of you have been in my world before? So type in world in the chat bar, like you've heard me speak, or, you know, maybe you were in one of my coaching programs, maybe you're in Food Dog, I don't know, maybe you worked for me at Gold Medal. Okay, so a bunch of you have been in my world. And if you would like the replay for this, can you type in replay in the chat bar? Maybe you're like, I don't even know if it's good enough yet. Well, I promise it's going to be so valuable. You're going to want to take pieces to this, and you're going to want to be able to bring it to everybody in your life. Okay. So to make it so you could get the replay easy, and also to make sure it's easy on my whole team, you got right there, you got a QR code. You could just click on that, or my team will put the Facebook group there. If you're in the Personal Growth Mindset Mastery group, we're going to take this recording and we're going to put it in the guide section. All right. If that's cool, can you type in cool in the chat bar? Now, if you're in the personal growth and maybe you don't realize it, Denise, in there, when you click, there's a little button that says guides. If you go in there, there is a ton of free training for you guys. Definitely make sure down the bottom of this, you could see here, down here, level 51, which May 29th, I guess I'll have to produce a level because I'll be level 52 on May 29th. My son, who was born on my birthday, he's on here too. He'll be level 23. Make sure you watch that. It's a lot of powerful insights. Plus, human engineering is just a way to redefine you. And then we have the money cure. Okay, the money cure. So dig in there, get the free trainings. And if you see value, which I hope you do, invite other people for that. So that's how you're going to get the replay there. Okay. Now, one of the big insights that I have learned over time, and first off, I just want to let you know, this is a life training. I know if you're a business owner, can you type in business owner in the chat bar? I know I get a lot of entrepreneurial business owner, or if you're a high level executive, type in executive, right? This is not a business training. This is more important than a business training. So we're not going to teach you marketing, sales, operations systems. I know I'm one of the best out there, and I do believe that. This is life training because in order to have a bigger business, I want you to write this down. In order to have a bigger business, bigger career like that, or expand it, you must have a bigger life. You got to have a bigger life, right? And if you've been following me a little bit, you know my theory, and you know that a lot of people are out there and they're talking all about this 10X thing. You heard this? Type in 10X in the chat bar if you heard this, right? And not that it's a bad concept. I just think there's part of it that's missing for all of you. In order to 10X anything, you have to 20X yourself. So type in 20X yourself in the chat bar. And I'll make my points as we go through this and we tie it to stress, because when you manage, reduce, remove stress, then you could focus on every area of your life without the wheels falling off the bus. Okay. A couple quick disclaimers for you. The one I already said, this is not a business training. Okay. And the other one here is pretty much a massive results disclaimer, which says you're probably going to have massive results because you're going to take incredible action. And I'm going to take no credit for that. Brian, what's happening? Erica, what's happening? I think Lou Police jumped on. What's happening, Lou Police? Nice to see you. So here's a little bit about stress, anxiety, pressure, and overwhelm. And if you could relate to any of these, okay, like if one of these or multiple of them are in your life, just type it in the chat bar as we go through it. Like, what about work? Any stress at work, anybody? 2017, I'll show you a picture soon. I had 200 employees. I did 32 million a year. I had 165 trucks on the road. I sold that company in 2017. I'll show it to you. And I'll tell you, when you have 165 vehicles, who lives in New Jersey? Anybody? Type in New Jersey. And you have trucks driving every day. And you know what? A little bit of stress, like people crash into each other. We crashed into the same bridge, I think 9 times. Like, that's just amazing, right? What about, okay, now wait a second. If you're on here with your wife or partner, like, maybe don't put this answer in the chat bar unless you're prepared. Okay. But any marriage stress at all? Type in stress. Any marriage stress? I mean, my wife and I have went through plenty of that. I mean, we've been together since we're 15. You got to imagine we figured out some relationship stress over the years. What about children? My son's on here probably like, no, not us, not me. Maybe he's thinking that, but like, can children bring a little bit of stress? Well, they definitely could bring some uniqueness, right? Some different things you have to deal with. What about family? Immediate family, extended family, sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, moms, dads. Okay, in-laws. Okay, raise your hand. Any in-law stress? All right, be careful if they're, okay, Sean's laughing. He's like, hell yeah. Can we circle that one? What about vacation stress? Did you guys ever have vacation stress? Here's how you know you have vacation stress. Oh, it freaks me out all the time. When people go away on vacation and come back and they say, I have to get a vacation from my vacation. I'm like, okay, you just destroyed that. How about health? Little health stress? Pandemic did a little bit of that. Or maybe you're dealing with weight or diabetes or something like that. How about wealth? Some people are like, no, I don't have stress and wealth. I just don't have it. And I'm like, all right, is that causing some stress? Even the dirty dishes in the sink. I'm looking for my wife right now. We just had this. We were just having a conversation about the dishes in the sink. Let me just talk to the men a second. Do any of you despise the whole dishwasher thing? Like, men, is it worse to load it, unload it, or just all of it? Ed, what do you think? Is it just all of it, or is that just me? It's all of it, right? Okay, so, all right. Is there any men that love that? Because I like to just have you come and tackle that shit for us here. So stress can happen anywhere. And a lot of humans have become good at numbing it. Do you know what numbing it? It's like it becomes so much, I'm going to find a way to try to sedate this thing, or I disappear, or maybe I drink something or smoke something, or I watch TV to just numb myself. And we have all these ways that we try to deal with stress, right? Here's a little picture, and I feel that this is some really good pictures that portray that I can experience. I've experienced what you're probably experiencing on some level, right? Having a very small company. Anybody have a small company where you're wondering like, shit, where's the next job going to come from? And is anybody on this training? Jen, would you do me a favor? Can I get this filled up, please? Are any of you new to my world? Type in new if you're new, like, hey, I tripped across you somewhere, LinkedIn or something. All right, Jeff, welcome. All right, so for those of you that are new in my world, sometimes I use some colorful language, okay? So if I do, you have a couple choices. You could reframe what I say. You can get off this training now because you're like, oh, if you say the F word, you'll freak me out, man. Like, or you just say an extra prayer for me tonight. Is that cool? You just say an extra prayer. I'm so good with myself on the inside. You'll be good with yourself after this too. This is me probably 16 or 17 years old doing electrical work. This is me bidding a job that I probably had no right to be bidding. And this is me marrying my beautiful wife. So that's where it started for me. But along the way, I figured stuff out. I did. And I'm not here to tell you I have it all figured out, because I still have some stressful days too. Seems like when you're anybody who's successful, did you ever get that like every now and then there's just this thing that's called certified letter, like somebody else, thank you, babe, is going to give you another frivolous lawsuit. Type in frivolous if you just live in this world, right? Like certified letter, you're like, oh, okay, someone else who just wants to try to not be nice. Yeah, okay, Brian, you get it. And what I started to figure out was one, and this picture is probably a decade and a half, almost 2 decades. That's not a created picture. That's what energy looks like in a very intense state. I started studying martial arts to learn how to break through myself, This is me. Somebody said I was ordering pizza. I might have been ordering electrical parts. That's my daughter when she was little. Now she's 20. And I did a whole lot of thinking. And I want to share with you a bunch of that thinking that has helped me, Mark, over the years. And then I learned that if I get around the right people that have experienced things, like how do you learn how to deal with stress? You learn from someone who's been through extreme stress and didn't break. And some of the things I'm going to say, guys, I'm not saying it to judge. I have no judgments, but like, look, there's plenty of times I never did drugs. I never did alcohol, but to tell you I didn't think about it at some time would be a lie because, at any time it sounds great to escape. Yeah. Be the bamboo bend, but don't break. Yeah. 100%. So I've been around guys like, Brian Kurtz. And here's my life now today. That's my beautiful wife. This is my daughter. We went to California, got daddy-daughter tattoos. Here's my son on the bottom there. And he's involved with Food Dog. He also runs his own martial arts business, combat business, if anybody's looking for that stuff. But I want to let you know to get here, it's a lot of stepping through the quicksand of stress. And the thing about stress is the more you feel it, the deeper you sink. Type in sink if you can relate to that. Like the more you feel it, the deeper it pulls you down. And when any of you that have the dreams of building massive wealth, right? What I call legacy style wealth, I don't know anybody that's built it and did not learn some form, some way to manage, reprogram, deal with stress. I mean, this is the company I built in New Jersey right here, right? 32 million. You got to imagine with all these people, you must be able to, hey, Sylvia, to control your stress. And I went on to build this organization here, which is called CEO Warrior, which is the highest level training and implementation organization, as far as I'm concerned, in the service industry. I believe I played a part. If some of you do type in part, I believe I played a part in changing the service industry on how people think and act and behave. And in the last 15 months, I created 20 people that sold their company, and probably 80% of them are Deca millionaires. Maybe just type in Deca millionaire in the chat bar, DECA millionaire, which means you now have $10 million of wealth in your bank account that you click on your Wells Fargo and go, shit, I'm really wealthy, legacy style wealth, right? And I've served thousands of clients. And everybody thinks it's all fun and games until you feel like you're responsible for hundreds of companies. They used to say to me, Mike, they said when you sell your company, like they thought like, oh, well, how will he help other companies? He sold, he won't understand. I'm like, okay, I went from running one company to taking the ownership of hundreds of companies all over United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. I'm like, are you kidding me? I felt like I took on 300 children. So I needed to understand how to manage stress, because now it wasn't just my truck that was crashing into bridges. It was people's trucks, companies I cared about. So I make that point to let you know that, one, you're like, hell yeah, this guy has dealt with some stress. But I am always building something. And I want to stress the point of the areas that I've learned to manage this in, because when we start to tackle here, we start to tackle the different areas that I have a whole system and process to give you tonight that you can take it, apply it to your life. Now, if you didn't see, we did have a little workbook for you to write notes in. Aaron, maybe throw the link in again if you didn't have a chance, but you could just write down notes. Yeah, Sean, Hexamillionaire is cool. But I have 3 decades of understanding relationships, right? With my wife. We're over 3 decades. So I understand dealing with stress in relationships and also making it work, which is one of my things today with myself and the whole team is we're tired of people becoming wealthy and divorced, people becoming wealthy and sick, right? People becoming wealthy and lonely. And if you're not at that point of doing that, well, then we want to make sure it never happens. I have 3 decades of martial arts. Any martial artists, type in martial arts in the chat bar. I guess if you watch Cobra Kai, you could type in strike first, strike fast. counts a little bit, 3 decades of building business, right? And helping people through mind blocks for over 3 decades now. I mean, I've been helping Kung Fu. Awesome. I've been helping people through mind blocks. Write this down. Your greatest life ever is on the other side of a mind block. That's it. Your greatest future ever is on the other side, but most people don't know how to shatter those things. And yeah, I authored 18 books because I was solving a problem. I'll say it here, but we didn't do a full launch out. I did create a book that's called Mind Power. It's out already on Amazon, but Aaron, maybe give them the free book launch, because these guys, they're dedicating tonight to their life. So let's gift them a little bit. Put the link in there if you guys want to get the free Mind Power book. And I also learned that I don't know about you guys, but if you had to stand on stage and speak next to Jay Abraham or Tim Grover, if you never read his book, Relentless, or Brian Tracy, come on. He's a legend, right? Or Mike Michalowicz, who I'm going to talk on his stage again in September. You got to be able to manage stress in environments like this, because you can't get up there like all shaken and stuff. People are going to be like, what's up? They're not going to listen to you. They're going to be more concerned about you. And in order to where we're going as an organization, I have to make sure myself, my team, everybody around us, that we can manage stress moving forward. So you guys know about Food Dog because you're here, right? That's what we do. We make sure that people can evolve themselves so that they can create everything else that gives them the legacy wealth. We also have another organization that we've been building out, which is called Business Forge. And this is an organization, this is a business. So if you know anybody that's like, hey, looking for a partner, I want to grow my company and exit in 3 to 5 years, maybe you know somebody, send them to us. Maybe it's a fit. I'm not in the service industry right now. So if you're in the plumbing, HVAC, electric, I don't have any interest in doing it right there. We have a different plan. And plus, that's really just a little too easy for me to grow, scale, and exit. And we're looking for things a little more challenging and that end. And also we have a company now that's called Impact 360, which if you look at Impact 360, this is a company that helps people become the authority, the influencer in any industry, right? If that makes sense, can you type in makes sense? Do you understand this? Because one of the things is to make sure that you might, I know a lot of you, so I'm always looking for opportunities for you, and maybe you see an opportunity there. Now, we're making a huge impact, and I know, and I want you at the end to tell me, like, and you can send me private message on Facebook, like, what impact am I making in your life? But like, we want to hit dozens of countries, hundreds of hours of training we've done, thousands of people impacted. And our goal is to impact 1 million people or more in a decade or less in 100 countries or more. And I'm glad you're here because you're helping us impact that. Because if we can impact you, then guess what? You're going to be a better model for your children. They're going to impact the world, and boom, the world will be a place where you're not sitting there. And the big thrill for everybody is Elon Musk and Twitter. Okay, interesting fact, but let's focus on your life. Can I take a quick survey? How many of you are giving a whole lot of attention to a lot of other shit that you should be giving attention to your own life? Tell me in the chat bar. How many of you should be giving attention to your life instead of out there going, oh, well, this is happening here and Elon Musk, like, less concern about him, more concern about your life. You could worry about him later. And of course, we have amazing endorsements. Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank says that we cracked the code. I'm very proud of that. Jay Abraham said transforming individual enrichment from the inside out. There's a key there. From the inside out. Inside out. Okay. Now here's some questions, and you tell me in the chat bar. If You can optimize your mind. Okay, optimize your mind, reduce the stress. How much value, like what value would that be for you? And look at these on the chart and type in, like, if we optimized you, what would you get? Greater wealth? Would you make faster decisions, braver decisions? I mean, I was helping companies for almost the last decade now. And I'll tell you, a lot of them are not brave. They're slow to decisions and they're not building wealth. Some of them are. Stronger confidence. What would that do in your life? Or what about greater sense of living in the moment? Right? Look on this ease, like handling setbacks with ease. Wouldn't that be really good? Corey says, okay, everything on there, right? Having greater impact in your community or leave a legacy or build better habits or better health. You know, I watch people and I know you should focus on your health, but I mean, the reality is, are you giving it really what it takes? Did you ever hear the racehorse analogy? I'm going to share it real quick because when I think about this, it always comes to my mind. And I heard it from, I think, Dan Kennedy the first time. If you guys had $1 million racehorse, okay, you with me, everybody? Sean, $1 million racehorse. And this racehorse is going to go and run, and I want it to win $1 million. Would I go out there and shove a Red Bull in its mouth? Would I shove a couple chocolate cakes, candy bars? I'll pound a little bit of maybe whiskey down there. I'll have it smoke a couple joints, snort some cocaine, slap it on the ass and go run? Well, some of you are going, yeah, but it might make $1 million once. It ain't going to make it millions of times. So you write a note. I am the $1 million, or I am the $1 million racehorse. You're the $1 million racehorse. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is that people focus so much. If you look at a life wheel, right? And there's 10 pies to it. And one pie is career, another pie is relationship, health, and then there's family, and then there's your spiritual belief, and then there's community, and then there's wealth. You look at this, everybody's putting 80% of their energy in this career bracket, and then they grow. I mean, I had someone, CEO Warrior, one of my very first clients, big company, dead. I think he was 52. I cried on the way there. I cried at his wake. I cried on the way home. And I get emotional every time I see the guy's damn picture, this guy, Dustin. And I sit here going, what did we accomplish here? We built a company and he's dead. So I want to make this impactful for you guys to maybe just shake the inside a little bit, okay? Let me get this out of the way in case any of you bounce. I do have a training coming up called Mind Power. This training is by application only. A lot of our other trainings, you can sign up online. We're doing application only because it's a very intense training on reprogramming your mind to teach you 2 nights a week over 3 weeks exactly what I've done to reprogram my thinking, my relationships, my wealth, everything about it. And if your mind is where you want it to be, everything else will follow. Can you write that down? If your mind is where you want it to be, everything else will follow. So if you guys want to apply for that by application to see if you're approved, then just the link's in the chat bar or use the QR code and apply. You'll end up on a quick conversation with me or someone on my team. I'll make sure you're a fit. We'll talk about the investment. I'll change your life forever. But this is not one of those things I just want anybody on. I want people that are going to shift and create legacy style change in the world. Okay, let's get started here. Number 1 step is you have to understand the time factor of stress. Okay, sit up, everybody. I need you to really consume this. And this is why I'm giving you the replay, because I always tell people, like, one thing, don't tell me to slow down. I want you to learn to speed up. I just did a talk on a podcast called The Point. Do any of you listen to that? Rhino's podcast, The Point? Type in The Point, To The Point in there. And when I was doing the interview today at 3:30 or whatever, I turned around and I want to share something with you. Now, if a computer, they say technology, Sean, they say that technology doubles the speed. Did you ever hear this, Brian? Doubles the speed every 18 months. What's that called, Mark? Is that called Moore's Law? It's Moore's Law, right? Every 18 months. Okay. You ready for me to twist you all up a little bit? So if Moore's Law says that computers can double the rate of speed every 18 months, and guess what, Sangeeta, am I saying that right? Sangeeta? Okay, high five, Sangeeta, high five, okay. And your brain is the greatest microcomputer on earth, then why aren't you doubling your rate of speed every 18 months? Because a human brain, as far as we know, created the technology for the technology to double every 18 months. Now, wait a minute, Mark, you got to be sitting here thinking, well, hang on a second. Why am I not doubling every 18 months the rate of speed, which would create, if my thinking shifts to double its level every 18 months, you would think everything else in your life would follow. Your health would improve. You would heal yourself, right, Emily? You would turn around and create wealth quicker. Your relationships would become deeper. But you have to think about the stress in terms of time. You're stressing about something that's either in the past, the present, the future, or all three. It might be all three. Now, let's look at the past here, right? And the past is maybe something like when I was a kid, the other kids used to make fun of me. And you're thinking, well, Mike, how does that bring me stress today? And as I'm saying things and it's impacting you or it has you thinking, can you give me a big old boom in the chat bar? Can you give me a big old boom? And if you're getting value, can you type in value in the chat bar? Because I know a lot of people give talks and a lot of talks, I've been on them, you get no value. And for me, if I'm not getting value, then I'm going to like shame the shit out of myself. You know, like in Game of Thrones, I'm just going to shame myself if I'm not going to do that. But I got to make sure there's value for you. In the past, if when you were a kid, other kids made fun of you, then when you're in your career or you're in life and the community starts to say something that you don't like, you're going to get stress that is created from moments in the past. Does that make sense? If any of you have past stress, hey, Lou, please, if you have past stress, can you type in past in the chat bar, right? Like you're still stressed about what happened, You cannot, at least of now, with maybe your thinking, cannot go back in time and change that. I see this with people that are divorced, people that all kinds of, they're like, no, you don't get it. I was divorced. I'm like, when? They were like 20 years ago. I'm like, damn, you're still carrying that? No, you don't understand. It was real bad. I get it. It was probably horrible, but 20 years later, your stress is from a moment in the past. Now there's present stress, right? Like my work is really difficult, right? Like really, do any of you deal with present stress? That's like, and some of the stress you're dealing with, you're like, oh my God, the people in Uganda are having a problem right now. That's the present stress. It's like, I don't know what to do. It's happening right now. I don't know what to do with it. And some people consume this. They're all over Facebook. They're like, oh my God, her cheesecake flopped. Oh, so-and-so got in an accident. Oh my God, so-and-so's got COVID. And they're just like present stress. Now imagine if I took like black smog. Okay, Carmine, like just black, dirty smog. Like you held it and it just feels like weight, like this fog of weight. Would you let me just keep handing it to you and you would just start what? Sticking it in your body? You're like, hang on a minute. Give me that shit. Before you know, Ed, you're walking around, you're a big pile of stress crap. Now there's the future stress, right? You got the future stress, like, oh man, will I be able to retire? Or food's going to go up? Or like, what if there's like, here's my thinking, and maybe let me do another poll, but there's no judgments here. Do we have any gun owners? Like, any of you own a gun? Type in gun in the chat bar. Like, here's the deal. If there's a food shortage, okay, you will have to go hunting like they did for thousands and thousands a year. Like, I have an ocean right here. I will go fish and catch shit, right? I will eat the seagulls if I have to. But if you have future stress, sitting there going, oh my God, the gas prices. Oh my God, the economy. Oh my God, the recession. Then all of a sudden you live in a state of paralysis of this future stress. This translate, and I'm not going to have any of you define yourself here as this, but a lot of my world, my wife said, yeah, I told her, Mark, you'll like this one. I told my wife, like, if it ever gets that bad, I will just cut pieces off my arm and let my wife eat parts of my arm. I said, you will not, I promise you, you won't die. Like, and then once we're done with the arm, I guess I could go, well, I have some belly stuff here. I'm pretty sure I can feed her off a little bit of this, not too long because it's going down. But if you think about this future stress, this translates into what we call anxiety. Anxiety. Anxiety is worrying about a moment, a situation that did not happen. That's what it is. And it bubbles you over. It bubbles you over. So many people today dealing with the bubbling over of anxiety. Now, when anxiety becomes such an overwhelming force, then it can start to create into states of depression. Now, let me give a little disclaimer. I am not your therapist. I am not a doctor. I guarantee no that you're going to feel better after this. I'm just giving you information to consider. But if you could consider that a lot of this could just be stress, well, we have to first say, hang on a minute. I'm dealing with a situation. Let me give you a real life example. I had a lawsuit, okay, a big lawsuit, like one of those that you don't know if you should cry or load the gun. Did anybody have a lawsuit like this? Like, it's one of those lawsuits, $4 million. Okay, Mark, $4 million, one of those bad boys. In the end, we settled at $1 million. And I thought this is going to put us out of business. Now, I had past stress because I was like, oh my God, how did I not see this? And the fact was, the person who sued us, when we finally settled, Mark, years later, the person said, I know you didn't do anything wrong, right, Lou? But the person said, I had to get paid from someone. I'm like, lucky me, world, lucky me, right? But I had past stress, like, God, how did I not see that? Then I had present stress, like, oh my goodness, dealing with lawyers, $250,000 of bills. My partners are flying out, fucking California. Then I got future stress. Will we survive the business? Can we grow? Will we die? Will we have to just evaporate? Like, what's going to happen? And then I turned around and I said, and I remember the moment, it was me and my two partners. I had two partners at one time. We were in this kitchen and I said, okay, let's just look at the facts. What show is that? Those of you that are generational, you'll know, like, the facts are the facts, right? And so I looked at the facts and says, here's the facts. We have a lawsuit. Here's the second fact. We're going to have to deal with it. Here's the third fact. Money makes all pain, at least a lot of it, go away. Dragnet, Gene. Money makes things go away. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this stress and I'm going to rip it out and I'm going to put it out of my life right now. And I'm going to take my brain and I am going to focus my brain on a level of intensity, relentless intensity, to make it that is not a stress, just an experience. And I think that year, we either grew by 3.5 million or 6.5 million. We grew by a lot. Now, tell me in the chat bar, could I have grown? Could I have bought trucks, hired people, bought buildings, and be in a state of stress? Now, it's cool here because Lou Police, somebody that I care deeply about, worked for me. Lou, type in how many years you worked for me. Still a great friend of mine. Like, he could tell you if I'm calling, if there's crap called here, because he was there when I was managing tons of stress. And I believe I always turned and pulled it out. 14 years. Lou, tell him how it was to work for me. And you could be brutally honest. If it sucked, it sucked. If it was great, it was great. And how to get rid of stress to refocus forward. Okay. Do we understand the 3 levels of stress, everybody? Type in yes in the chat bar so I know. Past, present, and future. And when you're dealing with it, you have to identify it. Now, check this bad boy out that I gave you. Okay. You could say a little thank you in the chat bar. I'll take hugs. Okay. I'm a hugger. All right, Mark. Like, you know, you guys, those of you that have been in my world, you know, like if we get together, we're going to hug. And unless you don't want to hug because you worry about getting sick, then we'll do a distance high five or something. It's cool. You're going to get some love from me. But here's the thing. We have to first look and start to say, hang on, what are all the areas of stress? Now tell me, okay, Sangeeta, does like everybody in their life need to get this chart and create it in their life today? Yes. And what we did was we broke it out to say, okay, let's use one, work. Okay, let's settle in a minute. Is work a past issue, a present issue, a future issue? Think about it. I have a career. I don't know if they're going to sell the company and I'm going to lose my job. Okay, future issue, right? And now you can identify it, 0 being the lowest, 5 overwhelming stress, right? Borderline anxiety or anxiety. And then what you'll do is you'll go in this chart and you'll go, okay, well, I have future stress, fear of this. At a level 5, I'm afraid they're going to sell. I'm afraid they're going to go out of business. I'm afraid, okay. We have to first get the things down. And second, we have to quantify it some. Okay. Lou Police says, Mike, you changed my life incredibly good. Don't make me cry on here, Lou. That will not be appropriate. He knows I got emotional over my dad always said, like, one day you're going to have children watch cartoons and cry, he told me. And did that happen to any other like men here? Type in me, right? Did that happen? Like you watch a Disney thing and you're looking at your kids. They're like, Dad, you okay? I'm like, yeah, just stuff in my eye, stuff in my eye, right? So now you have this whole chart for you guys to go through. And I'm not going to go through all of them here. I want you to go through them. I'll just point out some that might make a lot of sense to you. Like, well, shit, if you live in New Jersey, driving might just be a past, present, and future stress for you. Like when I drive up north to go to we have a 10,000 square foot building for CEO Warrior that I still own. And I own a 15,000 square foot building where Gold Medal runs at. Like when I drive up north, I am like, man, I wish I had that Mad Max car. Type in Mad Max. You know that car? Like I want a big machine gun on the top or something because, man, New Jersey is just like crazy. But you get to look at, okay, money, clutter, weather, bad smells, bills, politics. And I want you, can you guys all just like, would you just do me one favor? Would you just say, Mike, I will strongly consider printing this out. We'll get it to you. I don't know if it's in the work guide. We'll get it to you. Printing this out and just rate and rank it. I don't even care if you do the rest that I'm going to teach you. I just want you to rate and rank it. Because when you start looking and going, Brian, 5, 5, 5, 5, you start saying to yourself, hang on a minute. If this equates to, let's call this the level of optimization of my life, at Food Dog, we run something called the Freedom Tribe, where we help people pretty much superhuman themselves. I don't know if I have any Freedom Tribe members on here. Type in Freedom Tribe if you are. We help people superhuman themselves. If you look at this chart as the level of optimization of your life from 1 to 10, and you start saying to yourself, hang on a minute, this here, 1 being not optimized at all, 10 being a super highly optimized human, then you turn around, what if you rate yourself on this as a 3? You know that you are sacrificing a ton of your very best life because of stress. Give me a boom if that makes sense, please, if that's resonating, because this is an optimization meter. Now, tomorrow night, we have Ari Meisel in the Freedom Tribe, and he's a optimize and automate and an outsource guy. He's brilliant at it. If you don't know Ari Meisel, go buy his book. He's a very good friend of mine. I was just talking to him today. And I need you to understand this because this is going to help you guys. Let's go to the next step here. Okay, let's go to step 3 here. So here, step 1, understand past, present, future. First awakening we have to do. Step 2, okay, let's rate this. Let's rate this. Step 3, now what we need to do is we need to say, okay, what is in or out of control here, right? And so let's bring a thing here like bills. This is a stressor for us, bills. Now, what I can control, and you're going to see, we're going to carry this over. See this here? We're going to carry this over step 4 and step 5. We're going to keep pulling it forward in the process. But you make a list like what I can control. Well, if you had bills, I bet you can cut out some unnecessary bills, like maybe Netflix. Maybe some of you are like, no way in hell, I'll live off that. I will tell you, anybody watch Ozark? Type in Ozark. Okay. So they did say, Mark, who is with you? I'm sorry if I don't know her name. What is her name? Can you unmute or type it in the chat bar? Will be good. Okay, but Ozark's coming out, and I'm pretty excited. So that's on Netflix. So maybe you're not going to cross out that part in there, right? But maybe I can control the cost of other bills, like the power bill. And I don't know about you. Has anybody become just like their dad? You're telling your kids you don't own the utility company. Type in utility if you became just like your dad. You're like, kids, I don't own the utility company. You're like, oh my God, I'm just like my dad, right? I'm just like my dad there. Now, what I can't control, right? What I can't control is even if I reduce my bill, I still have to live with maybe some bills like water, electricity, unless you go off the planet, right? Unless you go off the grid, maybe you could figure that out. So once we have these, what we call stressors, these different, these different stress areas, now I have to say, okay, let me take the highest ranking ones, right? Let's go over here. What are my 5s? What are my 5s? Oh, Liz. Okay. Hey, Liz. Nice to see you. I don't know if I ever met you, Liz, before. So nice. We now know each other. So now I take all my 5s, like, this stresses me the hell out. I bring them here. Okay. Out of this, money. What I can control, what I can't control. Now, as you know, with money, you actually can control everything, right? How do you make gas so you never have to worry about the price of gas again? Anybody want to answer it in the chat bar? It's a pretty easy answer. Like, make it so you never have to worry about gas in history again. Greg's like, make more money. I heard like make more money, right? Just make a lot of more money. You ain't never worried about gas. And then you don't have to go to Costco and sit in line for 30 minutes to save $3 that you burned $5 worth of gas sitting there with your 8-cylinder burning gas, right? it's kind of wild. So now we're going to track. Do you understand step 3? Type in step 3 in the chat bar, everybody. Type in step 3, and you guys are doing great. I'm having a lot of fun with you. Okay. So now we carry this over. We got to go for step 4 now. Okay. We got to go for step 4. So let's look at our controllable items. Okay. What we can right here, what we can control. Can you type in process if you see how the process works here? Okay. Okay. Processes equal freedom. Okay. Processes equal freedom. If you own a company and you have no processes, you have chaos. If you have a life, which you do because you're here with me, and you have a life with no processes, you have chaos in your life. I'm giving you a process, past, present, or future. Label them the highest. Take the highest, put it on the street. Can I control it? Can I not control it? Let's look at the controllable ones. Okay, so I could simple action item here. I could go to Netflix and shut that shit down if I want. Shut it down. And I'm a big believer in destinations and time. I feel like a lot of people, you tell me, and maybe you're one of those, a lot of people are like patiently waiting to take action. That like, isn't this true? Like, how do you know you're waiting too long to take action? Tell me how many things are in your Amazon cart right now. Like how many things are sitting there and for like, how long are they sitting there? Here's the first step to controlling action, everybody. If you have shit in your Amazon cart, either buy it or delete it, because your brain looks at you as a vehicle that can't make a damn decision. And then what happens is instead of building the muscle of decision making, you're building the muscle of what we call indecision. Oh, my wife is telling you the truth. Everybody, Jennifer there is my beautiful wife. She's telling you, you know how I know, Mark, that shit don't sit there? Because I think we have the Amazon factory on my steps. I think it's the distribution center is on my steps. I need to buy a corrugated cardboard machine to compact the shit that's there. Well, maybe not that much. I just wish the guy would walk 3 more steps. Maybe he's trying to do me a favor, like he's giving me exercise at the sacrifice of himself. Maybe I have to give him a fucking fruit basket or something for making me healthier walking down to get the stuff. That's what I'm going to do. I'll put a fruit basket out there and say, you know what? Just throw it in the street. I'll walk out there and I'll get it. So now we have to make a decision. Some of you are here, right? Just because you needed to hear that. I need to make quicker, swifter decisions. If you want to build legacy wealth, you want to build health, okay? You want to build a deeper, stronger relationship. You need to take faster action. If you'll just entertain a little bit faster action. Can you type in faster action in the chat bar? Can you type in faster action? Okay. And am I amusing you a little bit? Is like, okay, I hope I'm amusing you just a little bit. All right. Let's go for step 5. Okay, let's go for step 5. All right. Well, down the bottom here, you could just use that block as you're going through things. And Aaron, let's make sure, why don't we upload, Aaron, these worksheets in the Facebook group, okay, so that they could get the worksheets easily. So we'll give you the recording, and we'll also give you the worksheets, so you could easily print them out. Boom, get your ass to work quickly. Now we got to go for step number 5. Okay, step 5 here is, wait a minute. These are things to adopt healthy stress management habits. So not all stress can be completely eliminated from your life. However, we can learn how to relax in spite of it, okay? The list on the left is how people often deal with stress, right? Let's look at the list. Like many people, they deal with stress sitting on the couch. Let me just paint a picture of some people I know throughout life. sitting on the couch, normally with like they own a low rider. Do you know that? They're just kind of like, it's one of these, like their neck's got to go back, head tilted back. And then normally they have like a beer or a shot or something because it's not enough. Their neck's going to snap off because they just are in so much stress. They got to try to numb that shit as fast as they can, right? So when their neck snaps, they don't feel it. But the reverse side is, wait a minute, take that stress and flip it right into some form of exercise. Now, I don't care what, like I love this thing. I go in cycles with it. Do you guys know the X3? Do any of you know X3? Type in X3. Do you know what that is? Sean, do you know what the X3 is? I have one of them right. Here's the X3, right? I'm such a believer in this, this thing here, right? It's just like this badass bar, which could be a super cool weapon, could be a great weapon. And like you could do, Gene, you could do like a ton of exercise with this thing right here. So if you're stressed, you could literally just like, and there's thick bands, you can literally push your soul out in anger and stress there. So you could flip it and go, okay, hang on a minute. I could either go there, right? Or I could exercise right now. Yeah, but my wife does have that too. But we're talking about the exercise. Type in X3 exercise bar later or private message me. I'll give you the link. Now, the other thing is a lot of people deal with stress. Oh my goodness. This is the fun one. Tell me if you know anybody that you think they've been trained how to be a professional complainer. Yeah, the X3 exercise bar. Like, yeah, I'll get that to you if you don't know what it is. It's super good. And I try to make sure before I sit down at the desk, I have to earn my ass to sit down, right? But like professional complainers, oh my goodness, like they just suck the soul out of you, right? But instead of complaining, it's best if they talk to someone, but not, most people want to vomit their complaints on you, which is normally why I don't have a ton of friends that I just sit there and I'm like, give me all your complaints. I'm normally like, all right, are we going to solve something? Otherwise, you got to find a new friend, because if you're just looking to like spit out your shit life that's happening, and you just want them to go, I agree, your life sucks. Like, I gotta find a different friend for you. But if you want to come to me and be like, my life sucks, now how do we fix it quickly? Then I'm like, okay, you talk to someone who's going to help you move forward efficiently, right? What about like, losing sleep, right? That could be one. You're just like up at night and who is this monkey mind thing? Anybody? I don't know if men have it. It seems like women have monkey mind more. This is not that you're a monkey. It's like your mind can't slow down before bed. Any ladies here have that? Type in monkey mind. Okay. Yeah. Your brain doesn't shut off, but like if that happens, right, then, and my wife has a resource for you guys that she's using that seems to work. I call it Lily of the Poppy, but that's just my silly name from like Game of Thrones or something. But she'll give you the resource to it. I don't know if you could jump it in there, Jen, or have them private message you. But like if that's happening, then you need to optimize to get your sleep, right? Because if you're not getting what you need in sleep, you're living in a state of fatigued stress. Now, have any of you lived with fatigued stress? Type in fatigue in the chat bar. This is when stress has a whole nother level, because the stress now starts to destroy everything. Now, let me summarize what I hope to be a pretty big awakening, and also maybe a little bit of an alert for some of you, okay? The way the human brain and body works is when you're telling it things are so bad, the human body wants to destroy itself, okay? So it could save you from the suffering of your thoughts. Let me say that again, okay? Your human body, when it's dealing with stress, pressure, and your mind saying, no good, I can't deal with it, and this is horrible, and the job sucks, your mind says, hang on, let me destroy you so I can remove the suffering from you. So it tries to destroy parts of your body, destroys your voice. That's why I did a survey the other day. I don't know if you guys saw it on Facebook. I asked, and maybe you guys tell me here, who has ringing in their ear? Ringing. And if you have ringing in your ear, can you type in ringing in the chat bar? And I believe, and if you guys are interested, I can't do it until I come back from Florida. But if you guys want, I did an energy exercise at an event, and literally the guy that had ringing in his ears for a decade, 10 years straight, it went away. And I'm convinced that this ringing in the ear, unless it was, some kind of, loud noise that shattered a piece of it, most of the times the doctors can't solve the ringing in the ear. And I believe it is built off of stress, and it's trying to protect you. Let me share. If you were told as a kid, you're useless, you're weak, you're nothing, you'll never count. Wouldn't it make sense that the human body is so strong? It says, wait, I don't want you to deal with that stress. Let me cause noise so you don't hear it. Type in possibility if you think this is a possibility. I mean, the human body is a powerful thing. Let's get back to some of the other habits. But if enough of you are interested, I can't guarantee results, but I'd love to see if we could do a process and remove that, because I believe that it is built off of this stress that people are having. Now you have other things, alcohol, right? It's another one, like go for hydration. Someone said to me the other day, I used to never drink, I started drinking. I said, you didn't start drinking. You're trying to sedate a problem or a situation you're having. That's what most people are trying to do. But if we could flip it to hydrate yourself, right? And then maybe there's snacks or candy and you flip it to something nutrition. So we have the stressors, right? And then we want to flip it into what we think is a healthier exercise, or instead of healthier, a more beneficial exercise for you, a beneficial habit for you. Now, how long does it take to create a new habit? Let's see what kind of like programming you guys have from hearing, people's stuff. Is it 21 days, 30 days? Okay. Or ready? As in a moment in time. Right now. I will tell you, yeah, Shane said it could take a millisecond or a lifetime. But you've been conditioned. Hey, Christina, you've been conditioned to think because it takes 2 weeks, it takes 3 weeks. No. It takes a moment in time where you make a decision that new thing, watch, let me make my point. Okay. You drink one more coffee or smoke one more cigarette, the minute it hits your mouth, you're dead. How long does it take you to change the habit? You're done. You just changed it. Just like that, you changed it. Why? Because there was a different level of leverage in that moment in time. You said, shit, if you knew you're going to die, you wouldn't do that. You just wouldn't do it. All right, let me pause there 1 second before we go to the next page, okay? I want you to type in the chat bar, what is something something that's really you're taking away from this right now? Is it the process? Is it the thinking about the things I'm saying? Is it a phrase I said? Let me take a drink. You give me a little feedback. Woke up and said, no more smoking, and haven't touched one again. Yeah. And Corey, you didn't quit. You're just not a smoker no more, right? You're not a smoker. Definitely the process, the thinking. What else? What are some of your big takeaways? And then we'll work on, I got a little more, so don't run away from me. You're doing so good here. The process, everything. Thank you, Sangeeta. Okay, all of it, process, but the thinking behind the process, right? Because if I give you the process, I'm like, hey, Mark, here's a process to remove stress. You don't know if I ever dealt with stress. You don't know how I use the process. You don't know how to frame it. Nobody does anything with the sheet because there's no framing behind how to use the sheet or what it's about or how you can save it. Now, how many of you, let's do another little survey here. I got to build some polls. Aaron, next time we're going to build some cool polls in this thing. How many of you wish you had this process 3 decades ago? Type in decades in the chat bar, right? If you had this level of mindfulness, that's why, Greg, when people say to me, I'm like, hey, if you could go back, I did a post a couple of weeks ago. If you could go back in time, right, Brian, and change anything, would you change anything? People give you the same bullshit program. The answer like, I wouldn't change anything. It created me into today. I said, okay, well, that's good. I would have changed all kinds of stuff and created myself into a bigger thing today. No. If I could go back and have this, okay, and have removed stress and the thinking about it, I would have been further. I'd have been different. Now, does that mean that there wasn't value in less? Yeah, there was values in it. Could I had greater something if I reframed, rechanged, didn't live with that? Of course. I mean, even if you're a parent, type in parent in the chat bar. Like if you're a parent, right? Lou Police is a grandparent now, right? He's aging very well, Lou. You're aging well as a grandparent now, right? And you're a parent. Well, you can't wait to become a grandparent because you're like, shit, I got another chance to hopefully do it a little different, right? A little better. Because that's what we try to do as parents. We want to be a little better than our parents. We want to do things a little different to let our children think a little different. And you hope that they'll do the same thing. All right, let's go to number 6 here. Okay. Number 6, master your mind. So stress is the result of an internal, let me highlight this because I need you to get this. Stress is a result of an internal conflict between what we expect and what actually happens. Stress is the result of an internal conflict between what we expect and what actually happens. And you have a choice. You have to change your expectation, or you can change your reality. You could change your reality. Either way, your mind is the key here. Your mind's the key. Example, expectation. The traffic is always bad when I go home after work. Reality. Many people are on the roads during rush hour. You know, my wife sometimes tells me you're going to hit a lot of traffic. I say I'm not going to hit any. I think there's probably tons of traffic. I just refuse to see it. I don't even want to I don't even want to see it. Right? Now you change your expectation. A new expectation is, I look forward to the opportunity to unwind and listen to an audiobook. Like, since I'm never bored, Jeff, like I'm never lonely, right? I'm never like freaked out if I'm alone. My wife says doesn't pay attention. Me and my daughter went to San Diego. We were like the perfect 2 people to travel. I never know where the hell I am. And my daughter's just a go with the flow human. It is such a perfect formula. She's like, where are we going? I'm like, I don't even know where we're at. She's like, okay, we'll just go find a place. I mean, so like no stress at all. We just ended up, San Diego, eating at Carlos's little taco. Anybody live in San Diego? You ever eat at this little, it's Carlos's Taco Shack or some shit, or you can change your reality to a new reality, like leave earlier or later than rush hour. It all starts with your mind and your ability to master it. Now, it sounds easy, but mastering your mind is mastering the processing. Okay, Aaron, type this one in the chat bar for me. This is too important for them to miss any of this. Mastering your mind is mastering the processing in your mind of past, present, and future events. Okay? Mastering your mind is the ability to master the process of understanding past, present, and future events. Most of, probably almost all of, everything you're dealing with is based off of a framing of something you dealt with before, right? If you had a bad relationship, you probably still struggle with your relationship some now because your brain is wondering when it goes bad again. Unless you reframed it. Somebody told me something, and I've carried it for a long time. It's really good. If you want it, type in tell me in the chat bar. It served me for decades. He said, Catherine, things are not difficult. They're just very different. I want you to think about that a minute. Okay. Danielle, did you get that? Things aren't difficult. They're just very different. And when you look at it through the lens of different, you start to say to yourself, I'm now not tagging it. I said this on the on a call the other day. I was a little spicy this morning. Did any of you get a little spicy today? Type in spicy. Did you have a spicy moment? I had a spicy moment earlier. It wasn't about my team, Christina, but my team was on. Aaron was on. My son was on. I think Catherine was on. My beautiful wife was on. So the team was on. And at Food Dog, we have a whole team of people. I think we're up to six team members at Food Dog Group right now. And I was spicy. And I said, look, guys, like I'm mean and I'm also nice, right? I'm good and sometimes I'm bad, right? Like it's okay for you. You want to be both. You guys tell me, are any of you always nice? You're always nice. Like you're always Skittles and you fart butterflies, like always? No. So if you could look at this and say to yourself, well, hang on a second, like mastering my mind might just be mastering opposites where you can embrace, but you know, the present moment is like, okay, like I'm a little spicy or I'm not. And you're okay with both sides of that. So I hope that serves you a little bit with, it's not difficult, it's just different. Because when it's different, you could reframe the meanings of your experience that's going on. Yeah. Christina said, a whole lot of peace with a little bit of go, yep, yourself. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was a Buddhist. Is anybody a Buddhist here? I was a Buddhist for many, many years. And then somebody said, you're a pretty interesting and intense Buddhist. I said, I'm a Buddhist with a twist. I told them, I'm a Buddhist with a twist. All right, let's go for this. We'll start to put a ribbon around this bad boy. So the mind controls all outcomes. Yeah, an edgy Buddhist. Yeah, a Buddhist with a good twist there. The mind control all outcomes. And what if you could use your mind to change any situation in your life? There's a lot of deeper levels to the mind I won't go into here. Most people think of the brain as the mind, and there's actually a lot of minds in your body, and everything holds a memory of some kind. But for the sense of moving your life, moving it, okay? Creating a catalyst of change, shift with everything that you want, everything you desire, right? Keeping the wheels on the bus, 20x in yourself, right? So you could 10x any result. And a lot of people, I love this phrase because I do believe it's true. Like a lot of people wanted to build what I built, but they're not willing to do what I did. And what I did was not what everybody wants to tell you to do. They're like, you got to grind it, man. You got to hustle it. You got to get scrappy with it. Okay, those are beneficial energies to maybe have. What you have to do is shift completely who you are. Who just did change the channel? Type in change the channel if you did that training with me. Like if you did change the channel, how was change the channel? Like if you can't shift your mind and your identities, well, let me put it in the perception of money, because it's easy for everybody to understand money. Like if you can't gain a $10 million bank account with like $1 million thinking, you just can't gain $10 million in your bank account. It doesn't work that way because you're framing, you only have the ability of the mind at $1 million. The minute you take on the identity and your mind is conditioned for decamillionaire, it starts to process itself and starts to say to you, reprogram this, change this, evolve that, think like this, move forward like this, have this. How many of you have to have a tough conversation with somebody and you've been avoiding it for how long? Tell me in the chat bar, how long have you been avoiding a conversation with someone? Let's look at this. 2 weeks, and there's no judgments here. That's a cool thing, guys. In our world, Danielle, there's no judgments. If you want to, eat butterflies and snort chocolate, like no judgments from me. I'm just here to serve you guys. I know the rest of the world wants to plague you, is good or bad, right? 15 years, right? Months, too long, 10 years. Now, if you look at this, 6 months, if you look at, you have to say to yourself, hang on a minute. I don't have, a lot of people will say, well, you have stress over the situation and you're avoiding conflict. You're not avoiding conflict. You're not. You're avoiding a new thinking process. You're just avoiding a new way to think. And the pain feels so tough for you, you don't want to have the conversation. And before you know it, a year, another year, another year. And then what happens is it gets to the point you finally have the conversation, but you lost a decade. Has anybody ever lost a decade in their life? Not taking action on something? You lost a whole decade? I mean, I can relate to that. And but you only have so many decades, right? You only have so many decades. All right. One more time, if you're interested, application only, you guys have it. Aaron will dump in the link. If any of you want to really, really own your mind with unlimited potential, and hopefully you could see as when you have mind power, stress gets reduced, progress gets magnified in your life, and we maximize all areas of your life. It's 2 nights a week, and it's for 3 weeks. It's normally from 7 to 9 p.m., 7 to 9:30, but you got to be flexible because anybody knows me, I don't stop until we're done. And it will be recorded, so if you miss it, you could always catch the recording if there's a weird night. The reason why I'm doing it in June is because it's, for a lot of people, it'd be the summer months, but it's summer energy for people based on the world. And I also know that the way to make yourself super ready for whatever gets thrown from now to the end of the year, you have to superpower your mind. Okay, so there's a real reason why I'm doing this training at this time. This is a brand new training. There's also a reason why I'm building this training, because I only build trainings to solve a need for humans. Okay. And here is the last part, and then we'll do a recap on whatever questions you have in the chat bar. But stress is the universe showing you an opportunity to enhance your life. And I didn't cover it in the beginning, but a lot of people call me Hanchi. Hanchi is somebody that's been in martial arts, that's an 8th degree or higher, sometimes 6th degree. That's why I have the nickname Hanchi too. So you could call me Mike, Hanchi, Mike A, doesn't matter to me. But really read this a second. Stress is the universe showing you an opportunity to enhance your life, which means if you don't learn how to deal with the stress, if you don't learn how to process the stress, you don't learn how to evaluate it, then you're pretty much removing opportunity from yourself. Now, that's our last slide. I have one question for you. I could take this down right now. Here's a question I have for you. The first way, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. Okay. Ready, Christina? Ready, Leslie? All you guys. Dwayne Willard, what's up, brother? Nice to see you. Some of you are not on camera. Turn on your camera. You could at least wave to us. Jack Ryan, what's happened? Here's a great way to already start removing stress. Get other people to watch the training. It's free. Because if you give them the sheets, if you go in the other room and tell your wife and you take a bunch of sheets and you throw it at her on the couch, right? Mark's like, here, read that, fill out that sheet, fix yourself, pissed off at you. Well, guess what? That's just going to add stress. So get them the training, sit and watch it again, give it to your kids that are at an age that can process it. And the more you help people in your circle remove stress, guess what? The better your life is going to start to be with stress, because a lot of your stress is outside forces meeting inside programming. So bring the training to them or invite them to the free group and say, hey, do me a favor, watch the training. For some of you that have kids that are either college kids or 18 or older, you should just say, would you watch something for 90 minutes? I'll pay you $50. Shit, pay him $100. Say, will you? Now, my son's on here, so he's not getting nothing for this. I'm not paying him to watch it. He's here, so he understands it. But pay your kids to watch this, because then they're going to have this skill set early, and you could have great communication with them instead of running from stress, especially when kids are going to school. And I think the environment, the whole pandemic and all this creates an environment where the world is charged up and you don't have to be charged by it. All right. So a couple things. One, in the chat bar, tell me what you're going to do, your first action item. Tell me your first action item, because if you've ever hung out with me, you know, I'm all about action. Like, I want you to take action. So tell me what your first action is. Second thing is give a little kudos to the Food Dog team. I have my whole team here. Man, we pushed so hard to get people on this training because we want to see people remove suffering. So the more you could help us with that, the better we could make the world a better place quicker. And my whole team is here. Thank you, team, because I mean, it's 8:30 at night for us, and we're here caring about you. All right, so make faster decisions. Yes, Linda, awesome. Fill out the sheets. Yeah, kickstart this in my lifestyle. Yeah, and share it with everybody you know, Carmen. Share it with every human that you're around. Going to download the worksheet and start rating my stress and determine what top, yes, the top ones are. Really good. Adopt healthier stress management habits. Yeah, okay, you guys are super great. All right. If you need us for anything, make sure, if you're not on my Facebook, make sure you friend me. I'm on Telegram. Make sure you're in the free group so we can get you to replay. If you want to apply for Mind Power, hit the link, apply. We'll have a quick call. Otherwise, I super appreciate all of you. I love you guys. I want nothing more than less stress in your life. Have an incredible night, all of you. Boom.